Thank you very much, Antonina, for all the chairs of the sessions in the morning. I am just going to give you a taster about the 2022 challenges, answer a few Q&As as we prepare to hopefully the second round of, or the next round of winners. But before that, just a shout again to the previous round of winners that received their prizes in CVPR or alongside CVPR virtually. Again, we had to hold one in virtual conferences. Hopefully next year in CVPR 2022, we will be able to award the prizes in person. If you're interested in submitting to 2022 challenges, I strongly encourage you to look at the 2021 challenges report, not only at the people or the winners or the methods for your particular benchmark, or whether you're doing anticipation or recognition, but also across the board, because there are really nice tricks and ideas across the board in the various technical reports by the winners, as well as the various submissions. For 2022, we decided to continue running the same set of benchmarks for another year. These are action recognition, detection, anticipation, unsupervised domain adaptation for action recognition, and multi-instance retrieval. So that we already know. These will all run on the extended version, so Epic Kitchens 100. The leaderboards for Epic Kitchens 55 will remain there, but they are not part of the challenge for next year. There are two phases. Currently, we are in an open phase. The leaderboards are open, and they have been reopened after the 2021 challenges, actually on the 14th of July, and people can submit one submission a day, and they will remain open until the 25th of November. This is the CVPR supplementary deadline. So if you want to test your method on Epic Kitchens, on any of the challenges, the leaderboards on the test set are open. And I'm emphasizing that because we still get papers to review as reviewers in CVPR that says the test set is not available. The test set is available and the leaderboards are open outside the challenges. However, the leaderboards will then close for the remaining of November, December, and early January in preparation for the official phase. This is the phase where we assess the winners for the challenges. We expect to open the leaderboards around mid-January. The decision on the metrics to decide the winners is ongoing and might not likely be exactly the same as last year in light of what we have decided on last year. So we might change how the decision on the winners is made, but the metrics themselves will remain there. So you know what the metrics are. It's just the decision on the winners will become a clear beginning of 2022 and will remain hidden until then. As with last year, these will close late May 2022, exact date to be specified, and we will continue around the same approach, one submission per day and a total of 50 submissions per team. There are forms that we've introduced for new entries, and these resolve some of the issues we faced last year related to two different email addresses that end up being actually in the same team. We had to ask one team to withdraw their submission because eventually they ended up being the same team as someone else. So to avoid that, and Antonina was a lead in kind of making this change, we have a form now for the Epic Kitchens challenges where you specify your login email, the challenge you're applying for, and we request a different form if you're applying to multiple challenges. We apologize for any inconvenience this might cause. We expect information about the person, where they are, and their affiliations, as well as the name of their team lead, could be themselves, and any of the collaborators they are working with. Again, the main intention is to keep the the whole idea of the fact that we are allowing one submission per team to the challenges. So again, if you have any concerns, please ask any of us, but these are the changes towards 2022. There are a few important questions that I thought to share early, also in light with the afternoon session on the reveal of Ego4D. Question one is, can I use Ego4D data to pre-train my models on the 2021 Epic Kitchens challenges? The answer is yes. Just not to kind of make a big change in people's minds. Ego4D is not yet out. The dataset itself will be out towards the end of November. But this is in preparation. You can use Ego4D to pre-train models and submit to the Epic Kitchens challenges. But to avoid any biases, this needs to be specified in the SLS scores. For those who are familiar with the challenges, they know what they are. For those who are not, I'm going to make a quick reminder. Second, can I use Ego4D with labels in addition to Epic Kitchens? And the answer is also yes, but you need to specify that clearly in the SLS scores. Can I use IMU modality, which is available in Epic, in the test set? I had that question asked recently, and the decision on this is yes. But please specify that in the technical report. Unfortunately, it's not something we have explicitly posed the modalities in the SLS, something we're considering, but you can use the IMU modalities which are available in the test set during testing. So we expect all the modalities, RGB and audio and IMU, to be available both in training and in testing. And finally, will there be any monetary prizes for the 2022 challenges? We do have sponsors for the challenges, but in line with our beliefs and previous years, we are not putting monetary prizes for 2022 either. What are the SLSs and how can you specify that? The notion is to have one task, one leaderboard, but to allow the variations in people doing pre-training and the levels of supervision. This is self-declared. They are numbers that you associate with your submission, and they are valid for all our 5 leaderboards. They keep your method and all its details anonymous. They just allow us to know what compares directly to what. And thus we proposed a discrete and incremental 3-dimensional scale. And let's see what I mean by that. So currently, in the updated scales, and this will be made available towards the end of the year, should you want to use Ego4D for pre-training, as opposed to only using kinetics or only using ImageNet, this has to be specified in the SLS scale. If you're using both Ego4D and Epic Kitchens to pre-train, this also has to be specified in the SLS scale. And if you have access to another private data, this needs to be specified. Again, the level of supervision, so what you're using as supervision. If you're using spatiotemporal labels from Ego4D, that means that you need to specify the level scale 4 or 5, indicating using of additional labels. And finally, if you're training on Epic and Ego4D, this is not the pre-training. This is the training with the labels. This also needs to be specified. So it's allowed. We really want to see the potential of the methods. Once the submissions are there, we will decide how to give the winners. We might actually give a different set of winners for those who use or don't use Ego4D. We don't want to specify that in advance, simply because we don't know whether people will use it. But we are open to really giving different winning teams depending on the various SLS scores. There is another announcement, kind of a secret we've been keeping for a while, and some of the people on board know of that, not everybody. Also coming in 2022, in collaboration with the University of Michigan and the University of Toronto, and sponsored by Procter & Gamble, we believe this is a game changer on the intersection between actions, scene, and semantic segmentation. Coming in 2022, so this is not immediately applicable. If you're interested in making this effort bigger, contact us for sponsorship. We were already in talk with a couple of sponsors. At the end of the line nearly is DeepMind, but because we haven't yet used the resource, we prefer to just thank Procter & Gamble because they've really put the effort in play, and we've been working on this for nearly a year. Thanks to David Fauhi from Michigan for preparing the next short video. a big shout out to the team, particularly the teams at Toronto are in charge behind the AI tool. Sania, Marco, Amlan, and Song. Also the new team at Bristol, Ahmed, Jin, and Bin, and of course, David, Richard, and Dan. We're really excited about this coming, particularly for me at least, is that we don't only have segmentations, we also have everything that Epic offers, narrations, sentences, parsed words, action clauses, etc. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take any now, but also please feel free to contact us on UOB Epic Kitchens at bristol.ac.uk. If you raise any issue on the relevant GitHub repos on the different aspects of the benchmarks, download scripts, the starting repos for action recognition. I keep an eye on these, and I do know that we reply not only individually, but the whole team very, very quickly, and special shout out to everyone. I'll stop sharing, and I'm not sure if there are any immediate questions, but happy to take any.
I got a question. Will there be a technical report explaining how the annotations have been obtained?
Yes, when they're ready, yes.
That's great. Thank you.
Again, don't hesitate. Well, we thought a lot about whether to share this. The data set isn't yet ready, but this is an early insight into something that we've been working on, and we always like to share things early.
Very nice, Dima. And can you say something about the amount of data, the size of the data?
Frankly, the amount will depend on how much sponsorship we're getting, right? So we're spending every penny. These are expensive annotations. We do believe we will be able to cover a good amount of the training set, maybe up to 50 to 60% of the training set will be annotated at the scale of, as dense as you've been seeing it, right? We're sampling at 2 frames per action. So that means we're sampling denser shorter actions, more than longer actions. And for people using Epic, they know that there is a plus there because there are very, very many short actions. A lot ongoing. We're still fixing lots of errors, and we're grateful again to the generous sponsorships of Procter & Gamble. We have a hand from one of the attendees.
Yes, I will enable Victor so that he can. Okay, I think you should now be able to open the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry. Thanks a lot for sharing this. I was wondering, like, do you see, like, is there any overlap between Epic and the new Ego 4D? For example, in terms of, like, for example, labels, like categories of actions, verbs, and nouns. And have you considered, like, any effort in that direction, like, to do something similar to what you guys did during in the 2018 versus 2020?
There is a lot. The taxonomy overlap. If you use the taxonomy is following very much the style of Epic and the narrations in terms of, but I don't want to burn a lot in Ego 4D. You need to wait for the afternoon and get to hear more about the reveal session of Ego 4D. Being there, like Giovanni, myself, and have been involved in Epic and Ego 4D, so we know all these overlaps. I think we're waiting for the full reveal, but yes, there is, the narrations are going to be really well utilized. The taxonomy has been shared, and more importantly, there are fresh new challenges in Ego 4D that would not have been possible to explore in Epic, especially related to social, to predicting motions outdoors, a huge exciting potential that's beyond Epic for sure. But that's, I wanted to mention that there is still some cooking scenarios in Ego 4D, and people might feel, can I build on a larger training set for the challenges? And our answer is, why not? We want to know the potential. Is the blocking point data? We always guess it's not. Even with more data, we're not going to get 100% answers. but without asking that question and allowing others, particularly those who have the resources, to explore that, we wouldn't answer, while particularly making a distinction between people who use more data and people who don't in the challenges.
Thank you.